Jesuit, who is a Jesuit? He's a sinner, but called to be a companion of Christ.
Difficult to say what a Jesuit is very quickly because we do so many different things. I mean, the basic kind of definitions of companion of Jesus, I think is true. The slogan, if you like, around the time I joined.
Welcome to Veil of Time, the channel where we delve into the hidden depths of history, peeling back the layers of colonialism to reveal the forces that shaped our world. Today we explore the Society of Jesus, or as they're more commonly known, the Jesuits. Since their founding in 1540, the Jesuits have played a complex and often controversial role in shaping global politics, religion, and colonial expansion. From their missionary work in the Americas to their influence in Russia, from the corridors of power in the Vatican to their connections with U.S. presidents, the Jesuits have long been at the intersection of faith, power, and empire. And then there's the enigmatic figure of the Black Pope in the age-old rivalry, or is it a parallel path, with the Freemasons. What does it all mean? How did the Jesuits come to wield such influence over history? And why are popes, particularly Jesuit popes, revered by leaders across the globe, including U.S. presidents? Let's dive into this fascinating journey and maybe throw in a conspiracy or two for good measure. Section 1. Origins, Mission, and Expansion, Early Beginnings. The Jesuits were founded by Ignatius of Loyola in 1540 during a time of great upheaval in Europe. The Protestant Reformation was shaking the Catholic Church to its core, and Loyola, himself a former soldier, saw a need for a spiritual army to defend the church and expand its influence. The Jesuits took vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, with an additional vow of allegiance to the Pope, making them the Catholic Church's most dedicated soldiers in both faith and politics. Unlike other monastic orders, the Jesuits were not bound to monasteries. Instead, they traveled, setting up missions across newly discovered territories. Their mobility allowed them to become some of the most influential actors in the spread of European colonialism, particularly in the Americas, Asia, and Africa. But their ambitions didn't stop with converting souls. The Jesuits were deeply involved in shaping political landscapes wherever they went, and their structured hierarchy and global reach made them a unique force in history. Section 2. The Americas. Faith, Conquest, and the Jesuit Reductions. In the Americas, the Jesuits quickly became a cornerstone of European colonialism. Spain and Portugal saw the colonized lands as an opportunity not only to expand their empires, but to bring Christianity to indigenous peoples. The Jesuits were at the forefront of this mission, establishing schools and missions to convert indigenous populations. One of the most significant examples of their work was the Jesuit Reductions in South America. These were settlements designed to civilize and convert indigenous peoples, often protecting them from the worst abuses of colonial systems. While the reductions might appear altruistic on the surface, they were also a tool of control. Indigenous peoples were stripped of their cultural practices, languages, and religions, replaced by European Catholicism. In North America, Jesuits helped spread Catholicism through missions that later became cities like San Francisco and Los Angeles. However, as in South America, conversion was rarely purely voluntary. Backed by colonial military power, the Jesuits often presented a stark choice: convert or face the consequences. Section 3. Influence in Russia. A surprising chapter. Beyond the Americas, the Jesuits found their way into unlikely places, including Russia. Despite being a predominantly Orthodox Christian nation, Russia allowed Jesuits to operate within its borders during the reign of Peter the Great and Empress Catherine the Great. Their intellectual rigor made them valuable as educators and advisors to the Russian court, particularly in educating the nobility. However, their growing influence eventually became a liability. By 1820, Russia expelled the Jesuits, viewing them as a threat to sovereignty. This mirrored the suppression of the Jesuit Order across Europe in 1773, when political leaders feared their immense global influence. Even after their restoration in 1814, their activities in Russia were tightly controlled, signaling the persistent tension between secular powers and the Catholic Church. Section 4. Jesuit Education and U.S. Presidents. In the United States, Jesuit education has profoundly shaped many political leaders, including U.S. presidents.
When I met the Jesuits, what impressed me was that they were living a life worth living. I was also impressed by the spiritual experience, the spiritual exercises. In doing them, I realized this was what I wanted to do with my life.
Bill Clinton, for instance, attended Georgetown University, the oldest Jesuit institution in the country. Georgetown's emphasis on intellectual discipline and global ethics had a lasting impact on Clinton's approach to governance and foreign policy. John F. Kennedy, the first Catholic president, faced significant scrutiny due to his faith. While not directly educated by Jesuits, Kennedy's Catholic upbringing was influenced by the Jesuit intellectual tradition, especially in matters of social justice and civil rights. Joe Biden, the second Catholic president, has openly embraced Jesuit teachings, particularly their emphasis on protecting the vulnerable and addressing social inequality. His policies on healthcare, climate change, and poverty often reflect these values, highlighting the enduring influence of Jesuit ideals in American politics. Section 5. The Black Pope, Power Behind the Throne. No discussion of the Jesuits would be complete without mentioning the Black Pope, the informal title given to the Superior General of the Jesuits. Known for his black cassock, the Black Pope has long been viewed as one of the most powerful figures in the Catholic Church. Historically, the Superior General has wielded immense authority, overseeing Jesuit operations worldwide. The hierarchical structure of the Jesuits, with the Black Pope at the top, has fueled speculation about their role in shaping Vatican policies and global politics. While some view the Black Pope as the administrative backbone of the order, others see him as the true power behind the papacy, a figure whose influence extends far beyond religious affairs. Section 6. Jesuits and Freemasons, Parallel Paths. Interestingly, the Jesuits have often been compared and contrasted with the Freemasons. Both groups are secretive, hierarchical, and influential. Historically, they've often been rivals, with the Catholic Church condemning Freemasonry for promoting secularism and Enlightenment ideals. Yet some historians argue that these two groups occasionally found common ground, particularly in colonial territories where both sought to shape political and intellectual landscapes. The 33rd degree Masons, often seen as the pinnacle of Masonic influence, have been rumored to intersect with Jesuit power networks, though concrete evidence remains elusive. Section 7. Reagan, the Vatican, and Jesuit Diplomacy. The alliance between Ronald Reagan and Pope John Paul II during the Cold War highlights the Jesuits' indirect role in global diplomacy. John Paul II, the first non-Italian pope in centuries and a staunch anti-communist, worked with Reagan to support movements like Poland Solidarity, which helped bring down the Soviet Union.
Liberty has never meant license to Americans. We treasure it precisely because it protects the human and spiritual values that we hold most dear. The right to worship as we choose, the right to elect democratic leaders, the right to choose the type of education we want for our children.
While the Jesuits themselves were not the central figures in this alliance, their intellectual and diplomatic groundwork played a crucial role in shaping Vatican strategies during this critical period. Bonus segment: the Jesuits, Adam Weishaupt, and the Illuminati. And now for a bonus segment that dives into one of history's most persistent and intriguing intersections: the Jesuits, Adam Weishaupt, and the Illuminati. You've probably heard whispers, or full-blown conspiracy theories, that the Jesuits were behind the creation of the Illuminati, or that Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Illuminati, was a Jesuit priest. Let's set the record straight. Adam Weishaupt, born in 1748 in Ingolstadt, Bavaria, was indeed educated by Jesuits. His early years were shaped by their rigorous intellectual tradition, and he went on to become a professor of canon law at a Jesuit institution. But here's where things get interesting. Adam Weishaupt was not a Jesuit priest. In fact, he was a staunch critic of the Jesuits, viewing their influence in Bavarian society as a barrier to the Enlightenment ideals he championed: reason, secularism, and the separation of church and state. On May 1, 1776, Weishaupt founded the Illuminati, a secret society intended to promote these Enlightenment ideals and to counter what he saw as the oppressive, conservative dominance of religious and political institutions, including the Jesuits. The Illuminati aimed to influence society through the education of elites, challenging the established order from within. But here's the kicker. The Illuminati as a historical entity was short-lived. By 1785, just 9 years after its founding, the Bavarian government, with support from the Catholic Church, outlawed the Illuminati, forcing the organization to disband. Conspiracy theories about the Illuminati controlling world events today are just that, conspiracies. There's no evidence linking Weishaupt's Enlightenment-era society to the shadowy, all-powerful organization some people believe exists today. So why do people conflate the Jesuits and the Illuminati? It likely stems from their shared focus on education and their reputation for secrecy and influence. But while the Jesuits operated under the banner of Catholicism, spreading faith and loyalty to the Pope, the Illuminati were secular to their core, promoting reason over religion. So no, the Jesuits didn't create the Illuminati, but they may have given Adam Weishaupt some of his study habits. Conclusion. From their missionary zeal in the Americas to their intellectual influence in Europe, Russia, and the United States, the Jesuits have left an indelible mark on history. Whether through education, diplomacy, or their mysterious hierarchical structures, they've shaped political, religious, and cultural landscapes for centuries. The Jesuits, along with figures like the Black Pope, their interactions with Freemasons, and their connections to U.S. presidents, represent a fascinating intersection of faith and power. Thank you for joining us on Veil of Time. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into hidden histories. And remember, there's always more to uncover beyond the veil.
Ultimately, to be a Jesuit is to follow the Lord, and Jesus was the ultimate mediator, someone who placed himself between God and man and humanity, to lead them back to God and closer to God. And I think that's what we're called to do, whether we're in schools or refugee camps or in parishes, to be with the people and trying to help and share their journey towards God.
I think it's their quality of presence, perhaps, and I think what they give in their presence, in their attentiveness to the person in front of them, that saying, God is in this person, God is in this place, God is available in this creation. There's a radical openness to God's presence